All right, so today we're diving into a story. It's got it all, fame, fortune, allegations, some serious misconduct, and even whispers that could, potentially rock Hollywood, right?
Yeah.
You guys wanted the breakdown on Sean Diddy Combs' fall from grace, and man, the sources you sent, it's pretty shocking stuff.
Yeah, it's wild.
So we're talking accusations of influence peddling, blackmail, even these tapes, right? Tapes that could bring down some really big names. And this isn't just some tabloid gossip rag, right?
Right, yeah.
We're talking potential criminal charges here.
Yeah, it's a fascinating case study. Diddy has so carefully, meticulously crafted this image of himself. Savvy businessman, music mogul, top of his game, right? And now, all these allegations, they threaten to, completely unravel that whole story.
Totally. So let's unpack these charges a little bit because, honestly, influence peddling, that sounds like something out of a mob movie, right?
Right.
What does that even mean in Diddy's case, according to what we've got?
So, Del CURIO TV, they allege that Diddy, he used his connections and his influence to, pressure people into these really bad business deals.
Yeah.
Right. Basically just leveraging his position for his own personal gain.
Okay.
And they also say he used, straight up blackmail, threatened to silence anyone who was a threat to his, whole empire.
So we're talking about manipulating people into deals that benefit him and then silencing anyone who tries to talk about it, basically.
Exactly.
And Del CURIO TV, they claim that a big part of this whole scheme revolved around those infamous freak-off parties, right?
Yeah, those parties, they seem to be at the center of a lot of these allegations, definitely.
Because Del CURIO TV, they describe them as being more than just wild parties, right?
Right.
They're painting this picture of this environment where allegedly, substances were just everywhere and situations could easily become coercive, especially with all the power dynamics going on.
And it's that coercion that's really disturbing. If this is true, it suggests, a pattern of using power and influence to just take advantage of people.
Right. And Del CURIO TV goes even further, suggests that Diddy allegedly had these parties filmed. If that's true, those recordings, man, that could be incredibly damaging. And not just for Diddy, but for, anyone who was there.
Absolutely. And that raises a whole other set of questions, right? Why film any of this? Was it just for him? Or was there something else going on?
Yeah.
And if the tapes exist, what's on them, right? It's no wonder people are nervous.
Because if Del CURIO TV is right, these tapes could be explosive, right? They claim there are these rumors that Diddy used them to threaten people, to expose others, just to protect himself. That sounds really familiar.
Yeah, the parallels are definitely there. Think
Yeah.
about, Harvey Weinstein, R. Kelly, where these allegations of abuse and misconduct just went on for years and years. And it was a system that protected them.
Right.
Powerful figures.
And this is where it starts to feel bigger than just one guy, right? If this is all true, it just points to this much deeper issue within Hollywood, a culture that allows this, allows powerful people to just, operate with this level of impunity. It's disturbing.
It is. It really is. And that's what makes this whole thing so important to look at. We're not just looking at, one man's potential downfall. We're looking at the systems that allowed this alleged behavior to go on for so long.
And according to what we've got, this culture of fear, this silence, it wasn't just limited to these parties. And this is where things get really interesting. Because Del CURIO TV also brings up Diddy's former bodyguard, Gene Deal. And he claims that Diddy would use secrets, right? He'd use secrets to control people, even close friends, people he worked with.
Yeah, and this whole fixer idea, right? Someone who helps Diddy manage all this, maybe even bury these secrets. Sloan mentions that too.
So we've got multiple sources pointing to this pattern of, alleged intimidation, silencing people.
And you have to think about the environment that creates, right?
Yeah.
If people, especially people close to Diddy, if they feel like they can't say anything, what does that tell us about the power dynamics?
It's a scary thought. And speaking of scary, Del CURIO TV, they highlight the claims made by Kim Porter, right? Diddy's longtime partner. She tragically passed away in 2018.
Yeah.
And her diary entries, the source describes them, and man, they're disturbing. They allege abuse, and they even suggest that she had this whole exit strategy, right, to protect herself and her kids.
Wow.
Exit strategy, what does that even mean, in this context?
Well, Del CURIO TV, says Porter, she felt trapped,
Yeah.
she was afraid for her safety. They say this exit strategy was about gathering information, right? Compromising stuff, maybe even videos from those parties. She could use it, as leverage if she needed to.
So not only are we talking about potential abuse, but also this like deliberate attempt to like gather evidence, protect herself. And Del Coraggio TV seems to suggest that these weren't, just any videos. They claim she might have had footage that involved other huge names.
Right, and that's where it gets really interesting. Legally, culturally, I mean, the existence of those tapes, that could be huge. We could be talking about a whole network here. Complicity, abuse, and it goes way beyond Diddy.
It's like this house of cards ready to fall apart and everyone's scrambling.
Exactly. And speaking of scrambling, both sources you sent, they mention a bunch of celebrities who seem to be doing just that.
Dude, it's like a mass exodus from the Diddy train. J-Lo, Pink, Usher, Justin Bieber, they're all scrubbing their social media clean, avoiding Diddy like the plague.
But
That's gotta mean something, right?
it definitely raises some questions. I mean, are they genuinely concerned?
Yeah.
Or are they just protecting themselves, their image? Maybe even hiding something.
Right. It makes you wonder, like, did they know about any of this? And if so, how long? This is what Cat Williams comes in. Del Coraggio TV mentions him, and he does not hold back. He's saying, like, this kind of behavior, it's everywhere in Hollywood.
Yeah, and he connects it to other big names too, right? People accused of similar stuff like Harvey Weinstein, Michael Jackson. Williams is suggesting this is a pattern, the culture of staying quiet, being complicit, and it just protects these abusers. It lets it all keep happening.
Which brings us back to that culture of fear we were talking about. Sloan talks about how the whole industry's just silent. So is it fear? What's keeping them quiet?
It's probably a lot of things, fear of what Diddy could do, fear of losing their careers, of being shut out.
Hmm.
But it could also be this thing of like looking out for number one, like speaking up won't change anything,
Yeah.
or that it's better just to protect themselves.
And then Del Coraggio TV just drops this bomb. They say Diddy might be willing to sing like a canary to get a lighter sentence.
Meaning what? He'd give up information on other big names to save himself?
Exactly. And Del Coraggio TV says J-Lo is at the top of that list, especially with their past.
Yeah, their history, it was a mess,
Mm-hmm.
personally and professionally. If those rumors about the nightclub shooting back in the 90s, if there's any truth to that,
It'll be huge.
huge for both of them.
And where J-Lo goes, can the Kardashians be far behind? Del Coraggio TV reminds us Kris Jenner was allegedly a regular at those freak-off parties. If those tapes ever get out,
Oh,
it'd be the biggest reality TV thing ever.
for sure.
And don't forget what Kanye was saying about Diddy. Del Coraggio TV brings that up too. Remember how he was saying Diddy was an FBI agent? It sounded crazy at the time. But now, it's like, whoa, just adds another layer to all of this.
Totally.
And Eminem, he never backs down from controversy, right? Del Coraggio TV points out that he's been dropping some hints about Diddy in his music lately.
Right.
Like those lyrics about Diddy knowing who killed Tupac. That's
Yeah.
just going to make those conspiracy theories explode, right?
Totally. And it all points to this real sense of suspicion, distrust that follows Diddy around. It's something Del Coraggio TV really emphasizes. But, I mean, putting this sensational stuff aside for a second, what's really wild here is the power dynamic, right? Like, this isn't just gossip. These are glimpses into this whole system where reputations are, like, manufactured. And the fear of being exposed, being ruined, it can silence anyone.
Yeah, that pressure to be perfect, to stay on top, it's everywhere in that world.
Absolutely. And, Jake Tran talks about how lonely it can get. The isolation of being in that spotlight, right?
Yeah.
It reminds you, fame and fortune, they don't equal happiness. It can be this dangerous illusion.
Yeah.
Like you're invincible.
So where does all this leave us, right? We've got accusations, secrets, people jumping ship left and right. What's
Yeah.
like the takeaway?
Honestly, it's still unfolding. Will there be justice? How deep does this all go? This network, this power, this influence, right? Is this like the start of a reckoning in Hollywood? I don't know. Those are the questions we're left with.
It's a lot. We started with these wild accusations about Diddy, and now it's like, I don't know, we just scratched the surface.
And that might be the most unsettling part.
Mm.
If power can silence the truth for so long, how many other stories are out there? What does it say about the whole system?
It makes you think. This deep dive, it's been eye-opening for sure. We went through some really heavy stuff, right? Accusations, cover-ups, just the whole structure of power in Hollywood. It's a lot to process, but sometimes, you got to uncover the truth. That's how things change.